one thing I've just been wanting to ask you the whole time really is where you feel you stand on the sort of religious spectrum. I think you've described yourself as not conventionally religious, but that doesn't seem to rule out a sort of religious dimension to you. Because I don't get the sense that you're a sort of reductionist atheist, it's all got to be explained by pure physical material laws. You do sense that there's some great mysteries. But what might that actually look like when it comes to, I don't know, is there some kind of agency behind the universe? Is there something pushing things towards this, to consciousness and life and everything else? Would you be willing to share?
When people ask me about my religious position, I normally start out by saying, well, it's not this and it's not that, and so on. So I don't like the idea of miracles. I don't like the idea of a God who sort of meddles in the affairs of the world. And also, I don't like the idea of a God who's sitting around for all eternity and then made the Big Bang go bang at some arbitrary moment. And so I think, however, we live in a universe that is remarkable in many ways. The laws of physics themselves, where did they come from? Why do they have the form that they do? Most of my colleagues just accept them as a brute fact. But it seems to me that there should be a deeper level of explanation. I'm not sure that God is an appropriate term for that. But if part of what is involved in the laws of physics is something like a life principle, then what we're talking about is something that explains the order of the universe and our place within it. What is undeniable, you can't be a scientist without supposing that there is a rational order in nature that is at least in part intelligible to us. And I'd just like to say a few words about the second aspect, the intelligibility. I think Einstein once said that the most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it's comprehensible. People will often shrug this aside. Scientists themselves will shrug this aside. Of course, the scientists can understand the universe because they're paid to do that. That's their job. They find it no surprise. I think it's absolutely staggering that the human brain, which has evolved to survive in the proverbial jungle, has within it the ability to decode nature in this thoroughly deep manner that is typified by theoretical physics. Many animals are better at jumping streams or catching objects than we are. When Newton saw the apple fall, he didn't just see a falling apple. He saw a set of differential equations that connects the motion of the apple to the motion of the moon. And likewise, in decoding nature through science and mathematics, what we're finding is hidden linkages that are not apparent to any other organism that we know. In other words, that we have tapped in to this deeper substructure in nature. Some people call it the cosmic code. We talked about genetic code, the cosmic code. We can decode the cosmic code. And we've done splendidly well. Now, that doesn't mean that we understand everything. There are still some gaps in our knowledge. But when you think about the last 300 years, our advance has been enormous in comprehending the world. So we were talking earlier about a sort of directionality in the universe, going from matter to life to then consciousness. I would add comprehension to that. There's a sort of arrow of time in the direction of comprehension. And if that is the case, if this is not just an enormous fluke, a happy series of accidents, if it can be established that that is a general tendency, then that to me comes very close to something like a meaning or a purpose in nature. It's certainly a directionality in nature, there's certainly a scheme of things, but it's a scheme of things that we can come to understand. And so I set huge store by this ability to do science and do mathematics. The comprehensibility of the world, I think, is the absolute key to there being something deeper behind it. And it's something that we, as representatives of comprehending organisms, are tapped into in a very fundamental way. So I think that's a sort of religious feeling, what Einstein called a cosmic religious feeling.